Hey there guys, Artistic Nick here, thanks for the click. In today's video tutorial I want to just show you how I balance values in my graphite drawings. As you can see on this piece that I'm working on at the moment, I've got a lot of dark and a lot of light areas. We're probably about halfway through this at the moment. And what's really important when you're trying to balance the values, and what that means is making sure that you've got some of the darkest areas and some of the lightest areas. But as you can see, I'm working on these very light areas here. Even in this very, very light area, I've actually still got some of my 4H pencil. This 4H pencil is a very hard pencil, and it doesn't actually give too much value. It doesn't. And there's not a lot of graphite that comes off onto the paper when you use it. But even in these lightest areas here, as you can see, I am actually covering it with a very fine layer of the 4H. Working from the darkest areas into the lightest areas is something that's really, really important. So going from my 4H into a 2H, I'm just going to try and contour the edges here. The general idea when you're working with graphite, I suppose with any medium, is the darker the area, the darker the colour that you're using, the further away from the light that is. The closer towards the light something is, the more the lighter the area is going to be. So as you can see with this picture here, as I'm coming into the nose area here, we're going away from the dark. So this is the darkest area in here. This is the darkest recess, but we're actually gradually fading away and into this lightest area. Don't let your reference images or what you're drawing from, if you're drawing from real life, don't let it trick you into thinking that the lightest areas are going to be completely white. So if we take, for example, this eye here, we all know that the white of the eye is white. However, when we look at this on the picture, we can see that it's not white. And I've got a really important and really useful piece of kit. It's called a grayscale value finder. So looking at this eye here, we all know that the whites of the eye are white, but if I actually take my grayscale finder and place it next to the white, you can see that the white of the eye isn't white at all. It's not even value 9. It's probably closer to value 8. So don't let your eyes be fooled and be deceived by the fact that knowing that something is white means that it's going to be white. All that happens if we use white is it flattens the whole area out. So just making sure that you are, like we say, you're balancing the values out. This is my darkest side, so I'm going to have the most value in this area here. I've actually gone all the way up into a 2B in this area, and what I'm doing is I'm layering. So I'm not pressing on too hard at all. I'm making sure that I'm just grazing the top of the tooth of the paper, and I'm just laying down graphite very slowly and very methodically. So this is the darkest area here, moving then into this highlighted area here. But just remembering that even your lightest areas are going to have some 4H in there, or a 2H, depending on what pencils you're working with. You're going to find some pencils do start to lay value down a little bit darker than others. So you might want to move up a pencil grade if that's what's happening, or move down a grade depending on what you're looking for. The other real important piece of equipment that you should be using, and I use on a regular basis, is a kneaded eraser. So if I did want to take some value out, let's say I wanted to take a highlight out of the eyes here, so the sparkle in the eye, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this kneaded eraser. Some people call it a putty eraser, and I can just dab, and you can see there that I am taking off some of the graphite. Now the reason that I'm able to do that is because when I am laying my graphite down, I'm not pressing hard at all. I'm not bearing down. If you bear down on the paper, what tends to happen is you tend to flatten the tooth of the paper down. Graphite gets stuck underneath the area of the tooth that you've flattened, and it makes it almost impossible. It makes it impossible to get the graphite completely out. So you're never ever going to be able to be left with something as bright as this area here, which in your portraits are always going to be your brightest areas. Although on the reference image, it does look as though this end of the nose here is as bright as this, but the reason for that is the area around this is darker, so the contrast is darker than the area around this here, which actually makes them look like they're both quite similar. But if we actually again come back to the grayscale finder, so if we look at the highlight, so we're not quite white, we've not erased all of the graphite, so I'd say we're on a value 9 there. And if we come on to this area here on the nose, we're probably looking at more of a value 8, in between an 8 and a 9, just to get that highlighted area here. But like I say, I'm about halfway through this drawing, but I just thought it would be nice to just check in with you guys and just show you how I'm basically working this. I'm going from the darkest areas, as I've said, but even the lightest areas are always going to have some value in there. In this case, this light area here has got some 4H and then possibly some 2H as well. If you've enjoyed this video and you think it was helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This drawing will probably be done within the next couple of days. So if you subscribe and turn the notifications on, I'll show you the whole process, this drawing from start to finish, exactly how I've worked it. If you're interested in any types of drawing, then I would suggest going in and subscribing. I'm doing daily videos at the moment, but I just thought this would be a helpful video for you in balancing your values and using a grayscale finder. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Hit subscribe, smack the notifications button, follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.